Hello and welcome to Street Beat, the official podcast of the Delaware County GOP. Thank you for being with us today. Our guest now is John Mancinelli, who's running for Pennsylvania's 161st Legislative District. Welcome to the podcast, John.
Dan, thank you for having me.
Now, the district includes Delaware County, Aston Township, Brookhaven, Chester Township, Middletown Township, Nether Providence, Ridley, Rose Valley, and Upland. Tell us a little bit about yourself, John.
Well, Dan, I'm a lifelong Delaware County resident. Grew up most of my time in Aston until I moved out to Thornton, Pennsylvania for a few years. I decided to come back to Aston and raise my family along with my wife. I have 4 children. Graduate of St. Joseph's University, and I also attended Newman University where I got my master's in sport management. And I am a lifelong small business owner. Family business has been around a long time. And more recently, I started a pizza shop called Mambrozzo's To Go, which is currently closed due to a fire, but we're rebuilding and getting back open.
Everything going good there?
I wish I could say it was going a little bit better.
Yeah.
We're having some issues with insurance and things like that, but we are definitely going to look to emerge stronger than ever and come back in the next few months. So we have some plans.
That's good to hear. And in the meantime, you're in a very close race right now. In fact, you graduated. Now your opponent is dishing dirt on you and putting out little flyers. And oh, what an evil man this guy is! And look at him; he's like the devil.
Yes.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I love the grainy photos that they put me.
And make you look really sinister, like cloak and dagger, and he's hiding in the bushes or something.
I look like the bad guy from a movie. Yeah, they did a pretty good job of it. Some of my friends told me I look good, so I'll take it.
They want you to autograph it.
Yes, yeah. As a matter of fact, I had a few friends show up and have me sign it. Yeah.
Tell us why you want to run for the 161st first legislative district, John.
So again, I've been heavily involved in the community. I currently am very involved in my township. I sit on the zoning board. I am also part of Parks and Rec. I also sit on the board of 2 youth sports organizations, Aston Valley Baseball and Aston Youth Soccer. And I also am currently on my Pendelco School Board District.
Boy, you're heavily involved.
Yes.
You've got a lot on your plate.
Yeah. And I feel like this is all a natural progression. I want to look out for the area that I love and grow up and spend my whole life in. I want to protect a community where I'm raising my children. One of the reasons I got involved with the school district was because I saw a need for my involvement because I was going to be sending 4 children through that school system. And I can tell you it's been a great experience. Contrary to the one side of it where I was criticized for making sure that my public schools were adequately funded and all the teachers and the teachers union and all the staff and facilities were adequately funded. But again, I don't know why my opponent or her party disagrees with adequately funded public schools, but I'll have to figure that out.
Well, obviously, you have a good grasp of the issues impacting the community.
Yes.
Tell us what those issues are that you feel need to be addressed in the 161st Legislative District and even beyond.
So I think a lot of the issues are utility prices, taxes. There's things that I would look to try and help out the small businesses and families. Look to try and alleviate some of the high prices that are affecting everybody in their households. I want to help with infrastructure. My father is a 87-year-old Army veteran. So there's a special place in my heart for senior citizens and Army veterans. So I would like to try and develop more programs to assist those people who have served and fought for us in the military.
Does it mess you up when you see our guys, those who served our country, end up on the streets, and yet all these people coming in from all over the world illegally into our country are getting debit cards, getting housing, getting all of these things that our people who fought for our freedom are not getting?
Yes, it is upsetting. And I see it. Part of my area, my other businesses, we do property management maintenance, and a big bulk of my area is the city of Philadelphia and towns like Camden. And I see a lot of homeless, and a lot of the homeless are veterans.
Yeah.
And, I think there needs to be an advocate for those people to make sure that they are protected and honored in the way that they deserve and make sure that they're not suffering. Yeah.
John, one of the things I've discovered, and I covered a lot of the military in my career as a television journalist, was they go and they train to learn how to kill people, kill men. And then they see war, they see the bombs, they see the ugliness, and they come back and you try to put them in a normal society, and many of them can't function. Not many of them, but some of them, and they end up with PTSD, which means they need help. Why aren't we helping them try to address these issues?
It's a great question, and I would hope that I can get in a position where I could help to try and figure that out. and understand why there has been such a lack and a delay of funding and assistance for people like that.
What are you hearing about grocery store prices and the price of gasoline? What are people telling you about those issues?
That's the biggest thing that came up. So, I'll go a little closer to home. So when we had the pizza shop open before the fire, every day prices were going up, and things like cheese for the pizza, 1 week it would be one price, and then the next week it would be up $5, then up $10. And it was tough for us as managing a shop like that to not pass that along to the consumer. So similarly now, as my wife orders groceries for the family, a bill she showed me that a year ago was $300 is upwards of $400, and $300 sounds like a lot, but we have a family of 6.
I hear you. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand completely.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I mean, ridiculous as it sounds, I went to buy a bag of chips. That was Doritos of some type, and I don't remember all of the details about it. But I got home, my daughter says, "Do you realize what you paid for that bag of chips? $7." Are you kidding me? I said $7 because I had people coming over, and I had no idea it was the family size, the big size. But that's just one bag. I also have been paying attention to prices at restaurants in our area to see which ones are more economical. Based to you can range from up to $23 for one person for one meal to something as meager as $6. And even people like myself, I pay attention to these prices. They impact me.
Right.
So I can imagine what it does for someone with 6 kids or trying to raise a family, trying to feed a family with that many kids.
Yeah. So, and my wife's very good about it. We have since cut back on eating out and ordering out a lot. She's been good with we've become very fancy with the crock pot.
Yeah.
So we try and accommodate. The problem is with the kids. Every kid has a different appetite. So
right. And with a lot of parents, both of them are working now. Who in the world has time to go and cook stuff? It's very hard to do.
My wife and I, we're both self-employed, so we understand.
Well, that helps.
Yeah. And so another point, another big issue is our health insurance. It's almost $3,000 for my family of 6 to get by. And
You're kidding.
Yes. And as 2 self-employed individuals, it's a terrible burden on us. We've actually thought about, the crazy idea of foregoing health insurance for a while, because even when we do afford to make the payments each month, it still ends up coming out of pocket, almost twice that with taking the kids to visit their doctors. Most recently, my son, he got injured at a soccer game for his high school, and he had a broken wrist, and we had to get him casted. And that was $500 more out of pocket, when you just go. Yeah.
Yeah, that does really hurt, man. That's a big, unexpected little thing that happens, and it turns out to be bigger than you would think otherwise in these financial times. As a representative in the 161st District, what do you think you could do to try to change the dichotomy of what we're seeing affecting people's lives across your district?
I think my goal would be to represent the people that I've known to become friendly with down at the sports fields through my involvement with the school. I know what their concerns are. I'd like to get there and see what we can do about gas prices, see what we can do about taxes, see what we can do about infrastructure and other things that affect the community that I live in. My opponent has been there for 8 years, and I don't know what she has done that would directly affect it other than being very good at making it seem like when she does get a grant, it comes out of her checkbook.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's amazing because a lot of people tell me that the only time they ever really hear from their representative is during the elections. And then they wonder, what have they done while they were in office?
Right.
Do you hear that a lot?
Yeah. Matter of fact, it hits really home this week. This week, as recently as yesterday, she announced that she got several grants dedicated to a lot of communities in our area. And I found the timing to be perfect because she's doing it right before the election. If I were to go in the office, I will make it a point to not use those type of things to my advantage, and I will make sure people are adequately funded throughout the year, not just when it's 10 days before the election and I need to look good.
Is there anything else you'd like people to know?
I'm always trying to not be attacking my opponent, and
hey, listen,
always explain to me. Yeah.
Well, let's see it play out. Let's see how it plays out. She's attacked you. Look, why are you holding back? I mean, she's done and she never mentions herself in here.
No.
But anyway, feel free if you want to if you feel it in here that you should do it.
Yeah. I guess the biggest thing is I've had my times in life where I've failed and I've recovered. The mailer that my opponent mailed out references a struggle I had over 15 years ago. That was before I was even a father, and I was able to recover from that, and it's made me a better person. And it's given me the knowledge and experience to see what other people struggle and go through. At that time, I tried a business endeavor that I ventured out on, and it wasn't exactly successful, but I made it a point to make sure that all my employees and my family and the utilities were all covered. Unfortunately, what I wasn't able to keep up with was some of the state taxes and federal taxes. But after I was able to get myself back on above water and on common ground, I did take care of that. I never took the easy way out, no bankruptcies, nothing like that. And I've paid back every dime that I was owed to the government. So, and it's made me a better person. I know what people struggle through. I remember during that time going to Wawa and having $7 on my debit card and deciding, which food item I would get because I only had enough to cover that. And now I see myself in a different position, and I try and live my life generously. I volunteer my time any way I can. If I'm not down at the baseball field, I'm down at the soccer field. I'm not down at the soccer field, I'm helping out. My wife is gearing up for a PTL event. Our whole family volunteers, and it's a big thing to be a part of our community, support the community, and make sure that people have what they need.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And when you go through these kinds of hardships, do you feel like it makes you more compassionate towards others similarly situated that are going through because you've already been down that road?
Yes, most definitely. I think people, the support and help that I experienced, I try and pay that forward. When my partner and I, Jeff, opened up Mambroso's just over 6 years ago, we decided we were going to spend the first year just giving out. And we did. We sponsored everything. We did everything, and we continue to do so. Any of the organizations that come in to see us, it means a lot to us to give back and make sure that our communities support it, in any way they can be.
Wow. Well, I'm very impressed with John. You're involved in a lot of stuff with the school board, raising young kids, coaching as well. Yes. I mean, that's a lot, man. That's impressive. Keep it up.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I just going back to the coaching, that was always a thing, involved with a lot of parents and a lot of people volunteer their time. And I was always of the mindset, there's always work. There's always a distraction. And I didn't want to be the parent sitting on the sidelines that was checking his email or doing things, and I figured if I'm going to be down there, I might as well be coaching, enjoying it, and be alongside other like-minded individuals and having fun with the kids. And I would tell you, just the people that I've met over the years have become best friends of mine. And I can see a common goal that we all have to make sure that, our youth are raised the right way, and in transition to that, one of the biggest impacts I see is I'm trying to have an impact on the youth in my community. We were able to, as a school board, vote to institute full day kindergarten. And we felt like that was a need to set our youth and our students up for the future. And it has such a positive effect that, it's been a couple of years now, and we've seen the ripple effect of full day kindergarten and students getting the right education and having the right resources when it comes to public schools.
Has this all been part of a listening process where you're listening to what the parents say they need for their kids?
Yes. Yeah, I would say because of my position in life, I tend to have to listen a lot because people know where my involvement is. So I'm often stopped at Wawa or down at Weir Park where our baseball field is. And people often tell me, hey, can you look into this? Can you look into that? And more often than not, the question and the advice is warranted, and it helps us get to a better place and a better understanding in our position in our community. So I'm always open for advice. Sometimes, the advice isn't exactly appropriate, but 9 times out of 10, it's terrific advice, and it helps us get a better understanding.
As you know, I mean, there have been a lot of people, they come into particular areas, they come in as carpetbaggers or what have you, and now they want to represent the people, and they don't even know the people. Right. Are you from our area? Are you from the 161st?
I am. I grew up in Aston. I was in from birth to 16 years old. And then even when we did move out of Aston for a few years, my family, I was still right on the edge of Delco. So the Delco pride runs strong in me. But we lived in Thornton for a few years. And then eventually I went to St. Joseph's University where I met my wife. Ultimately, we decided to settle back on and to live in Aston because at the time my wife was working for Wawa. So Wawa doesn't get any more Delco than that. But, so we decided to raise our family there. At the time, I was working in sports. I worked for the Flyers and I worked for the NBA for a few years. And I decided to go to my hometown university, Newman University, to get my master's in sport management. After a few years, I realized sports maybe wasn't exactly my calling because I have the entrepreneurial spirit and my family business needed some assistance with my parents. And I decided to come back. So I try to use that master's now in the youth sports that I'm a part of. And I'm trying to apply all that to the baseball, to basketball. I coach basketball, soccer, and I'm trying to bring that all my knowledge and experience to my local town.
So you never really left sports. You're still involved in sports.
Yep.
And what is it about Delaware County, man? People here are so sports fanatic.
Yes.
Hardcore Flyers, hardcore Eagles, hardcore Phillies. Yep. You can't shake them from that. It's like in the blood of Delaware County people.
Oh, most definitely. And I got that from my dad. My dad's a lifelong Eagles season ticket holder going back to Franklin Field. So I still carry on the season tickets every year. I have 4, and it works out because it's myself and my 3 sons get to go to games. Mm-hmm. So raising all my kids right by making them Philadelphia fans, and sports it unifies people. Yes. You can get together and you can have nothing in common, but if you're watching the same team, for that moment, you're both on the same mindset. Yeah.
You know what? We're just a few days from November 5th. Mm-hmm. This is the final push. What is the final message for those people undecided yet, and there's still a lot of them out there? Yeah. What would you say? Get out to the polls, get out there and vote. And it's so easy. You can go now and vote before November 5th. You could go to the courthouse right now, to the government center and vote, as I did. And it's easy. It's so easy to do. What would you say to the people in your district to say, please get out there and vote? Your vote is very important, and don't think it doesn't count, because it does.
No, I think everybody should get out there and vote. They should have their opinions expressed. They should make their voices heard. As a father of 4, I have 3 sons and a daughter. I want to protect them. I want to make sure that this community flourishes and is here for them. I never expected myself to ultimately end up living in the town that I grew up in, but I did. And I fully expect my 4 children to have that same mindset. They may decide that Aston and Delco is the area they want to spend the rest of their life in, and I want to preserve that area and make sure that's there for them in the future.
Yes. What do you want the people of the 161st Legislative District in Pennsylvania to know about you right now?
I want them to know that I'm going to fight for them, and I'm going to be there for them, and I will be around any chance I can get. I will be there in Harrisburg fighting for our area to make sure that we get what is deserving of the 161st and all the people that live in the community.
John, we wish you all the best.
Dan, thank you.
Hopefully you'll be elected.
Thanks.
John Mancinelli, running for the Pennsylvania 161st Legislative District. Thank you for being with us today on this edition of Street Beat, the official podcast of the Delaware County GOP. We'll see you again soon.